Now, before we start, I ask every guest, is there anything any of you do not want to talk about? If so, no worries. We won't talk about it.
Everything.
Oh boy, that's gonna
Yeah.
be rough.
So
Yeah.
work your way around that, man.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I had a rough childhood around 4. I'd rather not talk about that. So
Yeah.
It's very specific, James.
yeah, if you can just talk about when I was 3 and then skip to 5, that'd be cool.
There was a time in a Turkish prison that I was at, so I don't want to talk about that. So
Yeah, I'd rather not bring that up.
Welcome to Dead Headspace, part of Silver Shamrock's Horrorcast, a podcast network that includes Killing Time with Silver Shamrock and Unburying the Dead, where we exhume classic horror paperbacks for the new generation. I'm your host, Patrick R. McDonough. Unfortunately, Brennan couldn't join us today, but he'll be back for the next episode. Today, we are focusing on a Ben Evans film, a short story by Josh Malerman, adapted by two gentlemen that were the directors for this short. James Henry Hall. Say hi, James.
Hello.
And Brett K. Hall. Say hi, Brett.
hello.
And the main star of the film, Sky Elobar. Hi, Sky. I almost said Scar. Hi, Sky.
Mahalo Nui Loa.
Is that Hawaiian?
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I should have said to the bane.
And you guys could be saying a lot of curse words right now, and I'm cool with you.
Right. No curse.
So let's just jump in and if you want to curse, go ahead. It's it's a free for all on the show. Let's
Can
just
I just say fuck? Just throw it out there.
There you go. Fuck, shit, ass. I mean, whatever you want, man.
I want to get one out there just to get it out there, and then I'm good.
let's just start with how this all began. Whoever wants to jump in, go for it.
James.
I guess there's kind of I'd say it began when so Josh Malerman had to write a short story for an anthology for Ellen Datlow, and the theme was movies. And so his idea that came out of it was to write a story about a guy who makes a film with his recently dead parents. And he started writing it, and in the midst of writing it, he's like, hey, you should make this into a film. And I was like, yeah, sure. Send me it when it's done. I'd love to check it out. And he sent it to me, and right away, it was just one of those that captured me. And I was like, yeah, this is, I just immediately got it. I could see the character. I could see his elements. I could see his world, and just kind of started thinking of ideas. And I think I called my uncle after that and was like, hey, Josh has a story idea. What do you think? And correct me if I'm wrong, but he was really into the idea right away. And not long after that, we were watching, Josh and I were watching a movie, and we happened to watch The Greasy Strangler. And we just absolutely loved the movie. And afterwards, we're like, man, if anyone were to play Ben Evans, which is the title character in Josh's story, if anyone were to play Ben Evans, it would be Sky Elobar. And it just immediately resonated with the both of us. And when I talked with my uncle, he's like, yeah, absolutely. We reached out after writing a initial draft of the script and sent it to Sky, and I'll let Sky pick it up from there.
I should pick it up?
Pick it up,
Yeah,
Scott.
why not?
First off, thanks to Josh for writing the story. And then thanks to James and Brett for thinking of me watching The Greasy Strangler. Otherwise, this never would have happened, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was kind of this odd. I mean, I feel like the film industry is all about happy accidents, and this was just one of those. Josh wrote this great short story that just I really clicked with and resonated with, and it was very much my kind of sense of humor and my
ours
kind
too.
of
Both of ours.
worldview, and something I kind of connected with. So I think I think my uncle and I have a very kind of absurd and cartoony kind of sense of humor, and very dry and sarcastic, and this world kind of played into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And
fair
after
to say.
watching The Greasy Strangler, we're just like,
Yeah.
Sky's the guy.
So,
Well, thank you for that.
Brett, do you have anything to add before I throw a question in there?
No, it's just, it was just, as James was saying, it was just something that we had, it was just something that was a good niche for us. It just seemed to really fit. It was perfect. It's our type of film. Not that we don't have a type, but we have other types too. But that just happened to be one particular one, that because we have written some other stuff that was kind of in that area, but different, but similar.
Right.
So, but again, back to Sky, seeing Sky, and I watched The Greasy Strangler a couple of times, and it was like, yeah, we got to have this guy. So really appreciated what he could do, and then what he did with the film too. He how he helped it along with the acting. So, which we know he would, because what we saw with The Greasy Strangler.
For those that haven't seen that film yet, anyone want to describe what it's like? Because it's just, that's how I first started.
I'll
Sky.
describe it.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll describe it. I can't.
It's a heartfelt story about a son and a father trying to connect with one another, but getting distracted by a woman on their disco walking tour. And then it kind of falls apart because the dad loves the girl, and then Brandon kind of has a thing for the girl. So it's a heartwarming story that turns into mayhem, but then culminates back into the father and son getting back together again and understanding each other. And it's a heartwarming story. It's a father and son relationship story.
Which I mean, a father and son dynamic can be the most complicated or simplest story that there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want to attempt to quote it, but Brian Keane saw it recently, and his reaction was funny, man. It's just one of those things where it's so like the horror community, it's definitely well known, and it's always fun to like see people's reactions to that film. It's over the top, but like I like that too. I like what James was saying about Brett and James's relationship and their sense of humor. Reminds me of my godfather. He's an indie actor in the Boston area, and he's the one that got me into focusing on free lessons of listening to the commentary and behind the scenes. And ever since I was a kid, I've been hooked on it, because I'm as a prose writer, I like hearing stories and they inspire me. So you guys kind of remind me of my godfather and myself if we had gone into business together. So I love it. I love them. Is there anything else that we can learn about you two specifically? Because I know that you guys did quite a few films before this, and if there's anything that you guys would like to add about that, I'd be very interested to know.
Go ahead, James. You're going to say something. You go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that very early on, I mean, obviously with being an uncle nephew kind of dynamic, there's an age gap, but at a very early age, at least for me, there was a kinship and a dynamic that existed.
Yeah, through either through some type of magic or some type of thing, or
Yeah,
so
yeah, because
we had a connection through that way, and then a connection, and then later on when you were out west and you were starting to do stuff, and I was like, I've always had a yearning to do this, and I just never had done it. Got into film, so I just decided that I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it with you. So we decided to do that, and things started moving forward, right?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is, once you kind of join forces, things take off in another level. There's only so much you can do solo. But once you start adding other members to your team, just things start happening. And him and I are both very proactive. We're not the sort of people that sit and wait, because I feel like just to get anything accomplished, like you just got to be go-getters. You got to get out there. You got to hit the pavement. When I initially moved to LA, I went out there for acting and writing, and I'd audition and then I'd wait. I'd audition and then I'd wait. Audition and I'd wait. And I just got tired of that process. So I was like, well, if I direct a film, I can just cast myself. And for me, that was kind of a changing point, because I became the master of my own destiny. And throughout the years of me being out there and my uncle and I conversing and stuff, and once we linked up, and it's funny because the connection and the conversations were there all along. I think when I was young as 17, 18, we were working on scripts together, and now I'm 36, so we're looking at a healthy number of years working together and evolving and growing and working on stuff. And I think each project and that we do just skyrockets us to the next level.
Yeah.
Now,
Sky, what do you? Yeah. Taking over your.
I was going to ask Sky now. This was the first project you worked with the Halls. I was curious. You've done quite. I mean, you got like 30 some odd projects to your credit. I'm wondering if you've worked with two directors on a project before at the same time, and either if you have or have not, how's your experience been with the Halls?
Well, I have worked with the Farley brothers, but it was on a commercial.
I didn't know that.
Samsung commercial. I've worked on it for 7 days, man.
No shit.
It was crazy. People getting shot out of cannons, and it was crazy. Anyway, but I didn't have like a touchy-feely, warm feeling from those guys. They're just like the big stars, right?
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, and not that the Halls aren't big stars, but there's more of a we work together closely, and James sent me the script, and I loved the script, and we talked about it, and it evolved, and it was an ongoing situation. So it was great working with these guys. Great. And I can't wait to shoot this feature film.
Man, I talk about getting big. As a fan of film in general, I don't see how this thing doesn't get a big fanfare. So I would like to actually start talking about the short right now. The opening scene, it starts with this innocent music. I imagine that was done on purpose. I should have done my homework, but who's the composer?
Gary Griffin.
Gary Griffith. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you go with him?
I had a relationship with him earlier, and he's done a few of our films. I like what he's done. And another thing is I did a lot of with Spin. I was able to help compose or help work with him,
Nice.
So it was nice to have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
I liked what stuff that he did.
I thought it was perfect for the film.
Yeah, I think he did a good job.
And then we go into this book that Ben Evans is holding by Jim Bradley filmmaking. Is that based on any book that any of you guys really dug when you were learning about screenwriting or what have you?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of in the short story that we based it on, this Jim Bradley character was the centerpiece in which Ben learned all his filmmaking techniques from. So for me, Jim Bradley kind of became Sid Field. When I was learning screenwriting, when you go to any Barnes and Noble bookstore, the shelves are all loaded with Sid Field. Now, Sid Field, from what I've seen in interviews and lectures, he doesn't have the grand ego. So that's completely fictionalized. But
Well, can I jump in for a second?
Yeah, of course.
So, I was on a bus from San Francisco, and I had just flown from Taiwan. I was really tired, exhausted, and I was wanting to take a nap, try to sleep. But this guy was next to me, and he starts talking to me, and he was an inspirational speaker, and he would not stop. He just would not stop. I'm just like, he would hand me a pamphlet. He just had the smile on his face this big. It was just huge. And that's why, to me, that's why I thought of, in my mind, that's what I was thinking of Jim Bradley as this guy that was just, he just had this big ego, and he just would not be, he knew I was exhausted, but he had to tell me what he needed to tell me. So that's what, in my mind, that's what it was.
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar.
That's the motivational dude who teaches you how to sell everything. It's like Jim Bradley is like a cross between Sid Field and Zig Ziglar.
So anyway, I cut you off, so go ahead.
No, like that just became like Jim Bradley just became this personification of Sid Field, and pretty much I know there's other people that, you know, there's like the Blake Snyder Save the Cat series. So basically anyone that I read early on in screenwriting, they were all kind of blended together and became Jim Bradley. Because I remember being a kid, these people were larger than life. They were people that were they knew the craft, they knew themselves, and I definitely idolized them. And I idolize them in the way that Ben idolizes Jim Bradley. So one of the things for me that I really connected with in the short was that I saw myself in Ben. I saw that kid at heart who just wants to tell a great story. He wants to make a film, and he might not know how to make a film, and he might not have any resources. He might not have any means to make a film, but that doesn't stop him. He gets out there and he does it anyways. And the Jim Bradley character kind of became this summation of everyone that I ever read or idolized or people in the industry talked about. And just one of my favorite, characters in the short altogether.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to. There's so many things in the 17-minute short that I need more answers for as a fan of the of the story. So just I'm going to reel back to the pawn shop scene, and I'm not going to break down every scene because I don't want to spoil anything. But there's just a few that I want to talk about if you guys are okay with that.
Absolutely.
Malerman's little intro in the short that cracked me up. He had like one line of dialogue in there.
Yeah. I think it's like one long, like, "Hey, what's up?"
Was that his? Was he like, "Hey, I want to be in it," or how did that come about?
I think he wanted to be in it.
You did want to be in it?
I think he did, but we mentioned it. I think he did want to be in it, but I don't think it was something. I think there's something we brought up. It's something that we brought up, but he did want, and it was really something that he wanted to be in it. But we did bring it up, and he just said, "Hey, let's get him over here and let's get this little quick scene. It'd be kind of a cool scene to have him there and just hanging out." just obscure and just have them, pop out of nowhere. So, yeah.
And James had a little cameo in it too.
I did, yeah. And like I feel like so far the films that my uncle and I have done, we've thrown each other in there in some way, shape, or form. Some instances you might not know it, but it usually ends up being like for the most part a last minute decision. Like, oh, we need someone to do this. Yeah, you're gonna do that. So yeah, like before when we were shooting the scene in the library with Jim Bradley, someone had the idea of like, oh, should someone introduce him? And I remember my uncle being like, yeah, James will. And I'm like, okay, like I better write something. I better write some sort of introduction or something. So there's all these behind the scenes footage shots or whatever of me like writing a little speech like on like napkins or something, like, oh, hi, welcome to so it was just one of these last minute moments. And I mean, I love being on camera, and it's fun to kind of have these little Easter egg or these little moments in there where you throw yourself in there just for the fun of it.
Brett, were you in it? Because I don't recall seeing you.
I am in it. You'll have to look at the film because I am in it several times.
Yeah.
Several times I'm in it, but you will not see my face.
Because I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I can't.
Yeah,
right.
He plays Ben's stand-in.
I'm the stand-in.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not gonna see it no matter how many times I watch it.
There's a couple moments. So when he's dragging Mom down the hall, it's just the torso. It's my uncle, and then it's his hands on the typewriter when he's crafting his rewrite.
And the one brushing the hair.
Oh yeah, you're brushing my hair because I was wearing a wig.
He was wearing the wig.
So I actually wanted to talk about the poster real quick. I love it. That's something that I could see a lot of people want to hang on their wall. Who did that artwork?
So this guy by the name of Luke Spooner.
Oh yeah, I know who he is.
Okay, yeah. So he did some artwork, I think for like an anthology that Josh was a part of. I could be wrong on that. So if anyone out there is listening or watching is gonna fact check me if I'm wrong, please let us know in the comment section. But yeah, he did some artwork that, for whatever reason, I came across it and just was enamored with his style. There's something unique about it and something that just seemed fitting for the story that we're telling. And so I reached out and I was like, hey, can you do, I think it actually started, we were going to have him do some concept pieces. And he did some concept pieces and things that we're going to use for the Indiegogo campaign. And we got the artwork back, and when we let him know that Sky was cast, he recognized Sky from the Greasy Strangler.
Yep.
So on his own accord, he did an illustration of Sky and wrote a Ben Evans film. So the artwork that we commissioned him for, we got that, we used that for the Indiegogo campaign, but then on his own accord, he designed what ultimately became our poster, all because he recognized Sky and was a big fan of the Greasy Strangler and just did this poster. And I'm like, no, that's perfect. It has that right look that we're going for.
Yeah, I love it. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You got like blue and red lights or colors around you. I don't know if you're going for like a police siren look, but that's definitely one interpretation that I had.
Yeah, it's definitely that. And the thing is, like with the poster, there's a certain ambiguity to it that's fitting for the film. The poster kind of crosses genres, as does the film. So it seemed like just the perfect fit.
Yeah. And you know what? This is kind of out of the blue, but your partner Chelsea, wasn't she part of it behind the scenes as well?
She was.
That's cool.
She did. Yeah, she did. So she designed the cover for the Jim Bradley novel.
Oh, okay.
She designed that, and there was the flyer that Ben gets out of the mail. She designed that. She's a brilliant artist. So she designed that. She did the uh a lot of the artwork that you see in the film, like there's posters for Jim Bradley. I'm trying to remember what else she helped out with, and
You said the yellow card, right? The ticket. She did the ticket.
yeah, the ticket, which was the invitation that Ben got in the mail, the book, front and back, and the posters that you see behind Jim Bradley. She did all those, all the Sam Hatton Library flyers, and ones that you see when Ben meets Jim Bradley. She did all those. And yeah, she's a whiz at Photoshop. She does murals. She's a magnificent artist. And then she had a cameo in the pawn shop. She showed up to set to visit us one day, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was just like, hey, you're gonna be in the scene. She's like, what? She, yeah, she, and it's funny because she's a very shy person, but you know, for being thrown in the mix, you know, she seemed natural. I believe that she was in a pawn shop buying something. So
seemed natural. That. Seemed natural to me. So speaking on her artwork, I follow her on Facebook, and I love her art, man. I mean, it's incredible. I don't understand how a human can make art like that, or anyone can do that with their hands. I certainly look like a toddler that's drunk when I try to do art. But so was it basically a family affair with the whole cast and crew?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of family involved. You know, obviously, you know, my uncle and I working together. A lot of the extras in the library scene, my sister's there, my grandma's there.
Dad's in there.
My dad's in there.
My dad's in there.
Yep.
Oh, really?
One of my favorite things about the short is that my grandparents are the dead parents, Ben's parents.
No kidding.
Yeah, and they, you think that they've been acting their whole life. There's I mean, I know they played dead, but I've done shorts and stuff like that in film projects with people that had very little to do and couldn't pull it off. So right. the fact that they're in their mid 80s and they're doing their acting debut, I think was magnificent.
Yeah, they loved it. They just something they just loved. They loved to see how it all worked. So they were all excited. They were so excited. They had so much energy. So more than most.
Yeah. You know what? I don't want to say too much more beyond what I'm about to say on this film. So after this, I want to hand it off to you guys to just talk about whatever aspects of the film you want, and then I'll just kind of follow your guys' lead. But I thought it was really interesting from the very first shot. You got the mailbox and you see it's all rusted, and inside the house, it's definitely, you know, it's an older man in his parents' house, and they got the rotary phone. Yeah. And I'm not sure what year that was. I tried to figure it out based off of context clues, but I'm guessing it's modern times, and it just looks like that house is stuck in the past, and Ben Evans is just, this is his ways. And that told me a lot about the character too. It's little things like that I appreciate, you know, as a film fan. So take it away, fellas, whatever you want to tell me about the film, and I'll follow your lead.
I think James and Brett really encapsulates the world of Ben Evans really well, and really saturated the world to where you really get a feeling of, where is this? Who is this? What the fuck is this? Kind of thing. And that's hard to do, man. And then beyond that, they took that kernel, the short film, the 17 minutes, and expanded it, expanded the world, brought in characters, expanded the story, the narrative, and did a phenomenal job of this. When you read this script and see this film, you're really going to be blown away at what they did.
When's it happening? I just gotta ask.
Yeah. That's always the question.
Yeah, it's it's in development, and we're super excited with the expansion of the story and the continuing of Ben and his story, and the development that goes on there, and we look forward to getting down to the nitty gritty, and in the near future. So
I mean, it's on the right path. It's on the right path. So it's going on. It's heading in the right path. So it's getting closer. That's the way I look at it. It's getting closer. We know it's going in the path. So yeah.
So is this on the feature? Is it planned to kind of take the route of the film festival circuit, or do you have different? Is it hoping to go to the direct theater route, or where do you go from it? Because I know streaming is now becoming a big thing, so there's probably more options, I'd imagine, than there were a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, it's honestly hard to tell. We're not exactly sure what our our end distribution game is going to look like, but we're in the works, essentially kind of from the ground up. So again, just to reiterate what I just said, at this stage, it's hard to tell which direction it's going to go. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different venues and avenues that you can go to now that's kind of insane. As to where we might find Ben Evans in the near future, that's to be determined.
That's fair.
We hope we're shooting soon and we can submit it to the big film festivals, and get some hype going there. That's really what would propel this thing to the next level.
Oh yeah, definitely in hopes of that, guys. I'm really curious what kind of characters you expanded on. So let's just jump to the neighbor, because that's one of the only other character in it that we get to know anything about. So what can you tell us about her?
In terms of what becomes of her in the feature, essentially.
Oh yeah, that was pretty vague. First off, what can you tell us about let's start with the actress. What can you tell us about her? Why was she chosen for the part?
So we did virtual auditions, and she stood out as a front runner for many reasons. One, because there is kind of a motherly nature to her. Because for the most part, I've lived next to older women, and they were definitely very much like, "Oh, do you need anything? Can I help out?" But at the same time, they were also just seemed to continually be everywhere that I was. Like I'm getting mail, and all of a sudden, oh, they're there. So the she kind of became this figure that just looms over Ben, and every time he turns around, she's there. And we wanted someone who was kind of naive to what Ben was doing, and someone that could potentially be a victim, because you don't know enough, at least in the short, about Ben to know whether he has ill intentions or not. And we wanted someone that could feed off of Ben, someone that could play off Ben, and someone that could potentially, come off as a victim. In what capacity, that's to be determined, and that's the secret of that lies within the short. But Sarah had this vulnerability that we liked, and there's some ideas that we wanted to try in the short that we thought that would be fitting for her demeanor and the presence that she had. And on top of it, she's like the nice one of the nicest people we've come across. She cannot be sweeter and just so kind to work with. And she's doing a lot of stuff. I know she's doing a lot of directing, and acting and stuff. And
She's in Sweden right now.
yeah, she's from Sweden, and
I think she's that way now.
yeah, she's over there. She's doing a lot of work over there, which is awesome. And I lost where I was going with it, but
that's okay. Is she returning to the feature?
Yeah, so the idea for the feature is to not only bring everyone back from the short, but we're going to mix things up and switch things up. So some of the bit players in the short might play somebody else in the feature, and we kind of there's obviously a lot more characters in the feature, so we want to there's some characters that are going to be expanded upon, and so there's some characters that we're going to go different directions with. So the whole idea is to get everybody back for that was in the short, to get them in the feature in some capacity.
As we'll have the other characters are going to be there's other main characters that are going to be involved in this besides Kathy, the next door neighbor. So there's other main characters that we're going to focus on actually more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Than the neighbor, so.
Yeah. And the one thing that I'll say about the expansion from the short to the feature, I'll keep mum about most specifics, but sure. The one thing that I will say about the feature is that in this, not only does Ben want to make a film, but he also wants to screen his film. So that's a little tidbit and a little nugget to go off of. So
Ben's not playing around here. Ben's not playing here. Ben's not playing around here, man.
Yeah. Ben wants to take it to the next level.
Ben's going for broke.
Sounds like the origin story for like a serial killer movie, man.
Yeah.
It could be, and that's one of the things I think personally to me is one of the most interesting things about Ben is because I have and I know my uncle does too. Like we have very dry, but we also have very macabre, dark senses of humor, and Ben plays into that well because he has this energy, this aura of like, could this guy kill me or could this guy just be my best friend?
Yeah, come up and give me a hug and a kiss.
Yeah, would he help me move or would he just kill my family?
At any moment. At any moment he could snap. Yeah. You never know if he's gonna, at that point where he's got these, he seems even keel, but it just seems like at any point he could just go off. So you never know.
Yeah, just snap. He's constantly on the edge, and the thing is, you don't know what edge he's on.
Right.
Sounds like a Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, like he could be in some capacity. But I think that's some of that darkness is part of Ben's charm because he's kind of. He's in his own world, but I feel like he's not aware that he's in his own world. And
his boundaries are not set.
Yeah, I could tell he can
go over the top, man, or rein it back in and have soup with his dead parents, be drinking, a cup of noodle. Hey, Mom, you want a cup of noodle?
I did notice another small detail in one of the first shots is that his mother's nails are painted, her toenails.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
She definitely didn't die recently.
What I mean, the question is, did Ben paint them?
Did he paint them? You don't know.
That's one of the questions I got. Sky, can you help a brother out? Did he paint them?
Well, I gave you a hint when I said Ben ain't playing, man. Ben's going for broke. Whatever it takes. If he has to, do a cast of his father's penis, his dead father's penis, to be in the film, he will. He will do anything.
So would it be like a erect or a flaccid molding of his penis?
I mean, it's got to be erect. I mean,
penis pump, man.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Ben's father is a shower, so it's got to be erect.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I think I just got the preview for this episode. Penis pump.
Perfect. Yeah.
Smell the glove and penis pump.
Smell the glove.
I think that's a good episode title. Smell the glove and penis pump.
I can't remember what the fuck I was gonna ask next. I don't know. Someone take it away. Save me.
So the one thing that just popped in mind, because Patrick, earlier you I don't know, you said something that made me think of this, but one of my favorite moments when we were shooting, and for the most part, like on set, I could be pretty stoic and non-reactive and to things going on, and I can live inside my head as I'm working through what's happening around us. But there's one moment with Sky, with Ben, where he's dressing up his father, and he has him outside the window, and we're in the other room. Like Ben and my grandpa are in the kitchen. We're all the way in the living room watching the monitor, and he takes peanut butter and presses a mustache to my grandpa, and we're sitting there watching the monitor, and I think all that was scripted was that he presses or no, it wasn't even a script, because we just had he puts a mustache, so we didn't really know how or how that was going to transpire, but we had peanut butter, so we're like, all right, let's use the peanut butter. So Ben presses the peanut butter on there with the mustache, and he comes back and he says, "Oh, you look like Sherlock Holmes, Dad." Yeah. And to me, it was one of the funniest lines I had ever heard in my life. And I turned beet red. I started laughing. And for the love of God, thankfully we were in the other room, because we could have like botched the take. Or, if I started laughing, other people could have got laughing, and, could have, my big concern was, is getting my grandpa to laugh or whatever. But somehow my grandpa he pulled it off. He was just
cool.
Trooper. Nothing. I mean, he was just nothing. He just stood there like, God.
He didn't flinch, and like meanwhile I'm like crying in the next room, laughing so hard.
We all were.
And we're just like, and I remember I look at cause that was Josh was there at that particular time, and I think me, Josh, and my uncle, like, we're both like covering our mouths, our eyes are red, we're watering, and we're laughing so hard. And we just knew that was like just a very special moment that would just be a standout moment in the short for Ben, and seeing how deep the rabbit hole goes with him.
So that was pure improv.
Yeah, and it became one of those things, like, I think in the script it just says Ben tapes a mustache or whatever, and then we're like, oh shoot, like we didn't establish Ben having any tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jar of peanut butter.
Yeah. So use
Ben
the
would use
peanut butter.
Yeah, and it was to me it was just like one of those moments of just riding out a scene, and just one of my favorite moments.
And those are the best moments, because you got to be willing to let that stuff go and willing to move with that, because it just you got to be open to it. That's basically the basic thing is to be open to this stuff, because you never know what's going to come out. So that was really cool. That was a cool moment.
I haven't worked with nearly as many indie actors as you guys, or actors in general, but you can tell when there's someone that can go beyond the script, and a good director, in my opinion, they'll do what you guys did. That's all. Sky, I was wondering about that. What kind of actor you are? That's cool. You're an improv guy, I take it, when you need to be.
Not really, man. I'm not
Really?
really like the Greasy Strangler was completely scripted. There was
Okay.
not 1 ounce of improv in that whole movie.
Oh, okay.
All those speeches, there were 60 to 70 pages of dialogue that I had to learn verbatim.
Holy
And there was
shit.
no room for it. There was no improv. Jim said, no improv. So it depends. The feeling I get with these guys is there was a good feeling, and we were channeling something there. And that's the key word. We were channeling Ben, going deep and figuring out, what's in this guy, man, and that happens with some people, and other times, like with Big Braden and the Greasy Strangler, it didn't happen at all. I was just doing a character and sticking to the lines verbatim. So I really like improv, but I'm not like an improv guy, like Bill Hader or or Kroll. What's the guy's name? I did a show.
Nick Kroll. Yeah.
Oh, those guys are freaking awesome.
Nick Kroll's hilarious.
Guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but when that moment happens, you got to take it. You got to run with it. It's just, you have to.
So it depends. Yeah, it depends on who you're working with. I like to improv. I really do.
I mean, one of the greatest improv lines is, I think we need a bigger boat in Jaws. That's like a perfect film, and that line was not scripted. Everyone knows that line.
Yeah.
And they're like, I mean, for me, this might be. I don't know, Patrick, if you ever watched Parks and Rec.
I have. I didn't see the last 2 seasons. I can't recall why, but I'm a fan of that show.
Okay, so without going into specific details, one of my favorite improv moments is Chris Pratt on that show, and
the Kim Kardashian one.
No, that one's pretty good, but there's there's a moment where Leslie Knope, Amy Poehler has the flu, and it's obvious that she has the flu, but she doesn't want to go home because she wants to power through. She has work to do, and she's leaving her office, and the camera's just going to pan past Chris Pratt, and he's on the computer. And his direction was just to say something as the camera kind of whipped past him and then followed Amy Poehler as she exited, and she's sick and stuff. And so as the camera moves past, he's at his computer, and he's hunched over, and he's typing, and he's like, "Hey, Leslie, I typed your symptoms in this computer, and it looks like you have network connectivity problems." And it's obvious, everyone's seen that error message, when you're not connected or whatever. Yeah. And he totally made it up on the fly. And the series creator and showrunner was like, I haven't written a better joke for the show in the 7-8 years that I was on it. I almost wanted to cut the joke out of spite. And it's just such a funny like moment, and some of those are my favorite. Those things that just kind of roll off the tongue, and even before you realize what's happening, you're like, oh shit, this is where we're going with this scene or this moment. And you're totally living it. And I don't remember if there's I don't think there's any preliminary conversation about like, oh, stick to the script or whatever it was. Like my uncle and I like to work like, it's kind of just live in the moment, and if something comes up that's not scripted, roll with it. And if it seems out of sync with the piece or what we're trying to do or that specific scene, like we'll kind of go a different direction or try a different take with something different. But I remember showing up, kind of day one and meeting the crew and meeting the cast, at least in person. A lot of them we had conversations over the phone, but meeting everyone in person for the first time, it was such a warm, calming, energetic feeling. And having worked on a lot of sets back when I was doing extra work and some PA stuff, nothing was as warm and comfy as working on the short film. And I'm so excited to work on the feature because I know it's going to have that same energy. And I think that everything that you see on the screen is definitely very reflective of how comfortable we were all with each other. The crew as individuals had never worked with each other before. They're all people that work around the Detroit area that we were able to find, a lot of them through our cinematographer, John Anderson Beavers, who we happened to just stumble upon by sheer coincidence, I guess. We had been looking at cinematographers via Production Hub and through friends of friends and people we had cinematographers we had worked through in the past, and we just weren't finding that bit of spark, that magic, that imagery that we were looking for. And one day I just was like, fuck, let's try Google. So I Googled like cinematographers Detroit, and it seemed like the first thing that one might Google if you're trying to look for a cinematographer in an area that's not Hollywood or not LA or Atlanta or New York or something. And his website was the first thing that popped up, and right away from the first still that I saw, because he has some stills on his website and some shorts and some documentaries and stuff. The very first still I saw, I just immediately saw the style that we had been missing, the style that we were looking for, and immediately we sat down, had a conversation with him, and
which was the conversation was fit in with the style, so that also made it, it was at ease and it was comfortable with them, so because you could still have someone with that type of style and still not click.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met and one of the greatest collaborators. Immediately we've worked with a lot of different people, and I think the day that we wrapped, my uncle and I's both our reaction was like, we got to work with John again. We got to do something, just because he's that talented, and he his he just has a certain eye for things, and he watches a lot of movie, and
he does give 300%.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does. He gives 300% all the way, and we've become friends since then. And
we're used to when we're working, we don't have any problem moving stuff around, doing this stuff. So he's willing to do that stuff too. Obviously as independent, but you get some people that are a little pompous and they don't want to do it, but yeah, it's just you want to have a team that's cooperative, and you want to have a team that works together. We had a great team. We had a great team to work together. We had and the actors were, to me, were fantastic and easy to be with, and great, really great actors. So
The way I stumbled upon this short was me and Josh are friends on Facebook. He reposted something, I forget who posted the original one about this short, and I clicked it because Josh is a great writer who doesn't want to watch something that's being adapted of his work. And that was one thing that caught my eye right away. I don't know if I blinked when I was watching that film, because the first shot, it's just, everything's beautiful. It caught my attention. I think that we're all kind of saying the same thing, in agreement of the work he does. It's very, all anyone has to do is watch the film, which we'll get to where they can watch that at the end in the show notes of the episode. But I mean, it's gorgeously done. And you know what? I don't know how this sounds to you fellas, but as well acted, directed, and written as a film could be, sometimes if it's not, doesn't look super great from the DP, or is that the same thing as cinematographer?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. So sometimes if the DP doesn't do a super great job, I mean, you might just move on because you got a billion choices of films and TV to watch nowadays. But he knocked it out of the goddamn park.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%.
Exactly, but you can tell right away. You see a film, you can tell. You can see it right away. You can see it in the film. You can see it in the color. You can see it in other stuff. You can. You really know the difference.
And the great thing about John in this definitely is just one of the many things that differentiates him from other cinematographers is that you can give him a snippet or an image or a still or something that comes to mind in terms of like an angle or a shot or a way you want to tell the story, and it can just be a minute fragment in your mind, and he can just make it come to life in a way that you could just never believe. I think the conversation about the talk of the start of the film, just Ben looking in the mailbox, and then he crafts this this beautiful shot, and it's like that with every single shot in the movie. That is just like, yeah, we're thinking something like this, and he works his magic, and all of a sudden you have this absolutely artistic cinematic shot that just goes above and beyond anything that you initially imagined.
Yeah, because when it's done right, the audience, the general viewer is not going to really think about it, but each shot's a direction or indication of the character, what you should be feeling. And I mean, I feel like I picked up on everything. Maybe I didn't, but I thought he did a great job. Everyone all around did a good job.
Let's not forget about this here, okay? These guys John and James and Brett set up these shots and did these shots and got this stuff great, did the whole thing, but you really can fuck some shit up in an editing room.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
I'm serious. You can have a
know.
great movie and fuck it up there. And they did a great job of editing this and telling the story and keeping the vibe and the whole movement of this thing perfect.
Yeah, it's literally the second re-rate of a film or show. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, I fully agree with that. We are at the hour mark. I'm just letting you guys know in case you want to call it a wrap in a few, or if you want to keep rolling.
I mean, I'm going to keep rolling for a few minutes here. If you guys are.
The police hasn't found his location yet, so you can still keep rolling.
Yeah, exactly. They're pinging. Yeah,
he keeps moving along. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I would love to talk about that. So let's talk about location. I know Sky, you're in LA, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're in LA, and Brett and James is in Michigan, and you said that it was shot in Michigan. And I know Josh is Michigan guy too. So is that was where the film was shot? Is that where the feature is going to be shot?
Yeah, I mean, we got the shorts, around Southeast Michigan. As it stands, we're not really sure where the feature is going to be shot. We are probably going to take advantage of tax incentives that different states have. Right now, Michigan doesn't have one, so that's the one thing that might steer us away from Michigan, because it just makes financial sense to get to get a little bit back into the film. So we've looked at North Carolina, we've looked at Atlanta, we looked at New York. A lot of these places have 25, 30, 35% tax rebates. So I hear there's talk of bringing it back to Michigan. And while I would personally love to film in Michigan and put money back into the place I grew up. And for me, it's cool because I spent a lot of time in this state daydreaming about films and characters and different ideas. So it'd just be cool to let some of those play out here. But at the same time, we got to be financially sound with a few things and go where it makes the most sense.
Just gonna throw this out there. In where I live, New Jersey, it's 30% north of me, and in my county, it's 35% tax credit.
35.
So So if you guys ever want to use my house, don't tell my wife. Let's do it.
Exactly. that could be Ben's house. We could just show up one day, and your wife will be surprised. It'd be like a nice birthday treat.
Yeah, or divorce. That'll be the catalyst of my divorce. It's right near a old train wreck from the late 1800s too. So it's got a lot of weird ghost history.
Perfect.
And the Devils, the Jersey Devils, like 20 minutes away from us. So that's fun. It has a good vibe to it. Besides location, what else? What other fun and interesting facts would you like potential viewers to know about this film?
Oh,
do you guys have anything?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, same here. Trying to come up with some.
Well, it's based on a short story by Josh Malerman, adapted by James and Brett Hall, played by Sky Elobar. And I really think the town that they choose to put Ben in is really important.
Yeah.
I mean, the house where Brett lives, can I say that's your house?
Sure, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's my house.
No kidding.
They're going to be fans showing up like, hey, this is the house.
Yeah, filmed at my house because the house was built in the 70s, but it's
okay.
You don't know where this world is really. You don't see, oh, that's LA, or that's upstate New York, or that's Jersey, or that's
you have no idea.
Yeah, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. So that's going to be a factor in this whole deciding, obviously, along with tax incentives. But
if I didn't know that you guys were from Michigan, and I assumed it was shot in Michigan, I would have no idea where it was.
I look at these TV shows and I can tell where all this shit is shot. I hate that.
Seinfeld,
I hate that, man.
Seinfeld, you can tell it's LA due to those little diamonds.
Well, no, Seinfeld, that was 40 years ago, dude. Come on. Come on. Like, any of these shows that are shot in Atlanta, you just know it's Atlanta.
Yeah.
I hate that. Don't you?
If it's not in Atlanta, yeah. There's a lot that are shot in Toronto and not.
And Louisiana, you can tell Louisiana.
Yeah.
You can tell New Mexico.
Yeah.
It's got a few dead giveaways. Brett, what do you got, sir?
I was just going to say that what was I talking about the house? Yeah, I lost what I was trying. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
What if this house? What if this feature became so popular, and it was shot at your house that your house became like the Walter White, the Breaking Bad house, where you had to fence it off to keep fans away? Like I had a friend that shot a few photos of the house there before the fence was put up, but they put up. I don't know if you guys know, but they put up a fence because there were fans there every single day taking pictures in front of their house.
Yeah.
That's funny because it would suck because I went to go visit James in California, and we had gone to a few locations where Halloween had been shot, so it would be the same type of thing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, I mean, if it were me, and like, you know, say we shot Ben Evans at my house, I'd start charging admission. Like, yeah, $20.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, come on in. I'll show you everything.
This is where over here. This is where Sky was at, and this is the actual peanut butter.
Dude,
Sky played with the penis pump there.
Right over here.
Listen to me, man. When I watched The Exorcist, when the priest went out the window, where did you think that was? Tell me. Don't tell me now because you know, but tell me when you saw the movie where you thought that was.
Well,
probably like New York or something. I don't know.
I was going to say
LA.
My point, totally.
Right.
And then my friend said one day we were playing a jazz gig down in Georgetown. And he said, we're going to go to the Exorcist steps. And I'm like, what do you mean the Exorcist steps? He says, this is where the priest went down the steps. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? We went there and I freaked out. I didn't know.
That's awesome. That is really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, like with like the films I do and some of the books and short stories I write, like I like keeping more so like time periods kind of ambiguous. Like I'll write like a landline, but at the same time there's also a cell phone. You know, there's a like a 70s or 80s like Mustang, but then there's also like a brand new Dodge Charger or whatever. I don't know why I use cars as a reference because I know so little about cars. But I like it. I like it when you watch it and you're like, what year is this? And it comes to the conclusion, like it doesn't matter what year it is. It's its own world. It's its own thing. You know, when you watch the short, it's kind of like, what era is this? Is this modern? Is it take place in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s? And there'll be some of that in the full length. And I think that also too, having that kind of ambiguity towards where you are in the world too. I think that alone makes it relatable because it's like, this could be down the street. This could be my neighbor. This, Ben could be your neighbor. Is it Midwest? Is it Southern?
Where is this?
Yeah, who knows? It could be whatever. I mean, I've seen pictures of small towns all over the U.S. And Ben Evans could take place anywhere.
Remember, I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
This is totally something off the wall. Is that we were down shooting late at night at the end of the road. I have a long driveway. We're trying to get this shot done, and this car keeps driving back and forth. So finally they stop. We're shooting, and this woman comes out and says, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" Well, we're shooting a movie. Oh, there's been some weird people around here. I'm like, yeah. I wanted to say, yeah, you. What are you doing here? Why are you out here at 2 a.m. with your daughter driving around?
That's hilarious.
And my thing is, I don't mind people, coming. If they could watch, they could have pulled over and just, I'm more than happy to pull over. You can watch, just be quiet. But it was just really strange. I mean, it fit the movie. So
just get out of the fucking shot.
Let's go.
Yeah, quit driving back and forth like a weirdo. You're being the weirdo. You know, we're on our own property, and you're the one driving up and down the road, and you're calling us weirdos.
This one short that I did, it was me, the cameraman, and the person holding the boom. So it's 3 people with gear, and that there's one actor on the ground, like we're shooting down at him, and he's dead, kind of, having tremors. And we hear this, like, we call action. We hear this woman screaming across the street, like 30, 40 feet away. She's like, "Should I call 911?" And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
"What the fuck?" And
Oh my God.
I just look over. I'm like, "We're shooting a short, you idiot." It's very strange when there's a camera, even nowadays when cameras are everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just people got to watch. They got to know. They got to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I have so when I first moved to LA, I was like 21, 22, and one of my neighbors had asked me to help out on a short film, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And he had like all these prop weapons and all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, where we shooting? We shooting at the apartment complex? And he's like, no. He's like, down the road, there's this park. He's like, there's this building. He's like, we're gonna go around there and shoot there. I'm like, all right, that sounds cool. So he like rents this gear and help him carry it. And I don't really know what. I don't even know if I saw the script. It might have been all improv. I don't really know. I was just, I was just like, yeah, cool. Like, let's go out and shoot stuff. Cause I was just not only was I like naive, but I was just excited to do something. And, so we go out to this park. It was 2 blocks from the apartment that I live in. So we go down there, and he's like, yeah, we're going to showcase this like shootout scene. I'm like, all right, cool. And there's like a rival gang or something. So we'd been out there maybe like 10 minutes, and he calls to action. And, there's a couple lights and camera. And within a few minutes, we hear, freeze, get down on the ground. And we see all these lights like around this corner. And we're like, what's going on? Like, is this part of this? Like, did he really get like, did he get like a whole team involved and stuff? And so then I saw like all the LAPD uniforms. I'm like, oh shit, like this is actual legit. And so I dropped down on the ground, and like 20 SWAT team and LAPD and dudes with shotguns coming around the corner, and they cuff us. They cuff the 4 of us. There's like 5 or 6, but they cuff a handful of us, and they're interrogating us, and they're like, what are you doing here? And we're like, well, we have lights, we have a camera, we have recording equipment. Like, what do you think we're doing? We're making a movie.
Kind of like Ben Evans, man.
Yeah, just like Ben Evans. And, we all get like thrown in cop cars and frisked and like all this crap. And it was like my first taste of set life. And every experience since then has been wonderful since that.
Yeah, but we had a couple. Remember, we've had a couple issues. What do you do with independent? It just seems to have issues with the authorities for some reason.
It's like skateboarding. Like, they're trying to crack down on all this skateboarding everywhere. Like, no skateboarding, blah blah. Like, it's some sort of crime. Like, yeah, if you have an actor and a camera somewhere, like, you're immediately criminalized.
I've had a friend that had a drug problem that I wasn't aware of, that got high in between takes in my parents' bathroom. So that was
oh no,
that was the most fucked up situation with me. His brother had
Patrick.
Yeah.
Where are you from, man? Boston?
I'm from Massachusetts, but I live in South Jersey. I met a Jersey girl that went to college up there.
But you're from Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like
Where?
south of Boston, Bridgewater.
Oh, okay.
Did you do any
Just-
work up there?
Yeah, I was in and out of there. I went to music school there and then played shows there in my band all throughout the 80s and 90s. In college, I was in the 80s.
Did you go to Berkeley?
Yeah, Berkeley in New England.
Oh, okay.
New
I'm
England
assuming my
Conservatory.
accent's coming out.
I don't really hear the accent too
No.
thick because
It's not.
It's not.
I don't know if you know where Taunton is, but my
yeah,
parents,
I do.
my mom's from there, very thick. My dad's from Walpole. My wife has a hard time understanding them. um,
I love Boston, man, and Massachusetts
it's
and
beautiful.
the Cape and God.
Yeah, Cape. I go there every summer. My family goes there. Brought my son there
love it,
for the
man.
first time last year. That'd be,
I love it.
that'd be an interesting spot. I don't know the tax stuff, but I
That's
am.
that show Hightown. Have you seen that?
No, what is that?
Oh my God, that's excellent.
Hightown.
One
I'm a-
season so far. Oh my God, it's excellent.
Hightown.
It's in Provincetown.
Yeah,
They shoot it in Provincetown, and it's based on all this drug stuff going on down there and crime. But it's excellent. That would be a great place to shoot Ben Evans, man.
he's not
Yeah, I
kidding.
mean, I'm open to shoot it wherever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me too, man.
So-
Hawaii.
Yeah,
Ben
Hawaii,
Evans-
man.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Hawaii,
Ben Evans
right?
and
Ben Evans in
Hawaiian
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, exactly. He you know,
Christmas time in Hawaii. Ben singing Melakaliki Maka to his dead parents.
yeah.
That'd be funny, but kind of fucked up. So there is. I'm like most Americans that have a fascination with serial killers, and there's this one I've been always curious about. Are there any in the Cape? And there's one notorious one from the '60s called Tony Chop Chop Costa from a town called Truro. It's right next to Provincetown, aka P-Town, and
P-Town.
yeah, if you guys are actually interested in looking for a good story, that's one guy that I don't see in really anything fictionalized. That'd be an interesting avenue. Sky and Tony Chop Chop Costa killing a few girls and burying them in his weed garden in a forest like Tony.
You ready?
did.
Chop chop.
I was going to say that I'm from New England. I live in Jersey now, and Ben Evans' house could be in either area.
Yeah.
I'm going off. It was the town shot in there. Was that the Ben Affleck movie, The Town? Where was that?
Yeah, that was Boston.
That was Boston, but the area. I was wondering, same area?
Oh, I have no idea where it was shot. I mean, I assume they
No, I
shot
meant
parts of it.
yeah, okay. The idea of where they were talking about the town.
Oh, that was Fenway. Yeah, the town's just a nickname for Boston.
Okay, Fenway. All right.
Yeah, Fenway Park. I'm not sure what else we can talk about with this short. I mean, it's 17 minutes. It's a fantastic film. If there's any final thoughts about this or any weird noises you guys want to make, please do that now.
I mean, I'll make a weird noise.
First one to do that, I love it.
Yeah, that's my weird noise.
Ben's favorite sandwich. You don't see him eating much during the film.
Nope.
The short film, right? But
He loves peanut butter, though.
His favorite sandwich is pickle sandwich.
Yeah.
Replacing the bread with pickles and putting lunch meat in and he read it in a magazine that came from Jersey where they make pickle sandwiches.
Yeah.
There you go.
And he loves pickle sandwiches.
Sometimes he puts marshmallows on them.
Yeah.
God,
depending on his mood.
Hurts my stomach.
You got to put some peanut butter in it.
I might throw up just thinking about it.
I'm going to try that.
Brett, you got any final thoughts, words, or sounds?
No, I'm just channeling, channeling, we're going to get this thing going. It's going to be done. We're going to be shooting it pretty soon. So I'm just excited about that. So
yeah,
I'm
me
more,
too.
I'm more into that.
Me too. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, James. Thanks, Brett, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Now, where can people watch this short? And again, it will be in the episode's notes. So listeners, check that out. They're not long notes, so it's just a link. Where can
Cool.
people follow?
I think you should make the show notes really long. Make them work for it.
I
Yeah.
never make them long. It's so fucking annoying when they're
Yeah, just
super long.
yeah, throw in a bunch of different characters and no. So to check out the short, you can go to www.benevansfilm.com and the password is capital ABEF.
For a Ben Evans film. Now, where can people follow y'all?
He's
So
the guy to follow. I'm the quiet beetle.
he's
I'm
the
George Harrison.
he's the teller of the group.
Go ahead, James.
I mean, yeah,
Give the
James Henry
information.
Hall. I show up on Instagram. I show up on Facebook, Twitter. I think on Instagram I'm James the Henry Hall. So you can find me on Instagram. I post a lot of weird shit and some normal stuff too,
Nice.
but mostly weird shit.
What about you, Scott? Brett doesn't. You don't have social media, do you, Brett?
No, I don't. I live
still has-
vicariously through everybody else.
He still has a
Brett-
pager.
Brett controls social media.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He's the man behind the curtain, dude.
Be quiet.
He's Oz.
Yeah.
What about you, Sky?
Same as James. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all Sky Elobar.
There you go. Oh, I think I mispronounced your last name. I think I said Sky Elbar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
my mistake. Elobar.
Yeah, you can dub in the correct pronunciation.
Oh no, I'm gonna keep it to. I don't want anyone to think I'm smarter than I am. So, just real quick reminder: we have a store where you can go to deadheadspace.com. Click on the store tab to check out things with my ugly mug on it, such as a coffee mug or a mask to wear in these plague times. Fellas, I know I already asked for final thoughts, but we're about to wrap up. So, is there anything else that any of you want to say before we go?
We need to get one of those cups.
I mean, if you want one, we'll talk after this.
Oh, we can go online and get one. We don't have to. Yeah.
That works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the short.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely check out the short. 17 minutes. I don't think you're not going to like it, but I mean, 17 minutes isn't going to kill you and you'll love it. So I encourage it. And the feature will probably rock the boat. Next episode is with Bev Vincent, plus a giveaway of Flight or Fright hardcover. And audio listeners, I just lifted up the book. It's a gracious gift by Richard Chismar, the dude that runs Cemetery Dance. Stay tuned for that next Monday. Fellas, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And listeners.
Peace, man. Peace.
Of course, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really appreciated it. And that was a lot of fun. So
Absolutely.
And that's River.
That's
That's
River.
River on my uncle's lap. Yeah.
Yeah.
River the cat.
River's kind of the genius behind the duo.
Yeah, she's the muse.
He's the guy behind the guy.
He's the muse.
Yeah.
She's the muse. Yeah.
There's the guy, then there's the guy behind the guy, and then there's the
And
guy
we just
behind
keep
that.
going, yeah.
Yeah.
There's always that guy. So,
Well, that's a great way to end. So, listeners, stay tuned.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
You have many choices for podcasts. Thank you for picking us.